I lose my house. That's the ballgame. I want to start with a story of somebody I met at a client of mine's, Joe. Joe sat across the table from me. He looked me in the eyes and he said, if my house goes through foreclosure, I'm going to commit suicide. And I think it's really important to see exactly how he told me, the exact words he chose, because it does a lot to characterize the man behind the statement. Right? He was a once charismatic 50-year-old father of two who, according to his coworkers, was a bright spot in the workforce. However, over the course of a few short months, his financial situation had become so dire that he thought that he was out of options. But how did we get there? Well, from his company's perspective, they did everything they needed to do. They checked the box to help secure him his financial future, right? They offered an industry-leading match, a generous profit-sharing contribution to boot, immediate vesting, competitive plan fees, and best-in-class investments. What they overlooked was what he went home to. Also checked the boxes for child support payments. He was house poor. Monday through Friday, he was working 20-hour work days, not weeks, 20-hour work days. He had no budget, and of course, when I met him, he also checked the box for foreclosure upon his home. Now, there is a laundry list of quantitative and qualitative data out there. And it will show the symptoms of not being financially well, financially fit, not being in good financial health. The quantitative is a little bit more black and white, right? If we're not financially well, we can't save for our future, let alone our kids' future. And in reality, we can't really save for today, which to me that means we can't live within our means. Now, the qualitative is a little bit more abstract. It kind of falls in the category of I know it when I see it. But not having good financial health can manifest itself in stress, deteriorating personal relationships, loss of appetite, or in the case of Joe, just an I don't care attitude. Joe got to the point where he didn't care to joke around with his coworkers as he used to. He didn't care if he ate lunch or dinner that day. He didn't care if he showed up for work on time, let alone at all. And on his worst days, he didn't care if he woke up the next day. Now, on the tail end of the global pandemic that saw a huge amount of job loss, furloughs, pay cuts, hospitalizations, deaths, what are your employees still facing? Well, the reality is the landscape has changed, but it's still an uphill battle, right? You can see some of these headlines from April, from the month of April, right? I could actually update that NASDAQ headline till this week, right? But the NASDAQ drops 4% in a day. The U.S. economy shrinks in the first quarter in the midst of a remarkable recovery. Federal student loans are killing the middle class, but we're not even paying them right now. We're not until August. And then, of course, what's on everybody's mind? It's inflation. And it's the fact that inflation is rising at a rate faster than that of the average hourly worker's income. Now, all that makes me think we need to have a plan, right? We got to have a strategy. With all these external factors that are pushing upon our financial wellness, what are we going to do about it? Well, unfortunately, 75%, 3 out of 4 people are just winging it when it comes to their financial future. Now, the problem with when we're just winging it, we're just going with the flow, is it's all too easy to find ourselves in a situation not unlike Joe. And the numbers show that there are thousands, if not millions, of Joes in the workforce. Chances are you might have a Joe in your company. And the reality is Joe actually told somebody how he felt, right? He confided in a coworker. But not every Joe does. But what are we going to do about it? Right? What are 3 things I can do today? Cinco de Mayo, it's later in the day, tomorrow, to help my employees be financially fit? Well, the first is to get to know your unique and diverse workforce, right? Quantitatively and qualitatively. The quantitative data is vast if we know where to look. In my world, that means talking to our 401k record keeper. We can request so much information, pull so many reports that really tell a story, right? Are my employees contributing to the retirement plan, and how much? Are they not contributing enough to get the match? And are they not doing it because they don't feel like they can? Or do they not understand it? Are they invested appropriately? Do they have a beneficiary? Are they taking loans? Or worse, are they taking hardships from the retirement plan? That could be a symptom of a much larger problem. Qualitatively, we love to survey new clients where we can ask very pointed questions to get to the bottom of their financial wellness, right? What is going on after 5 o'clock? We love to include long-tenured employees in these types of conversations, right? Some folks who maybe a little bit more rank and file, boots on the ground, but People who would be privy to those water cooler type conversations that the C-suite might not be. And then ultimately, where this all drives at is consider implementing a financial wellness program at your company. The reality is, for your employees, it's gone far beyond just a want, and it's becoming a need. And the reality is, if you're not doing it, chances are your competitors are. Bank of America did a study last year showing that 46% of employers were offering a financial wellness program, up from 40% the year before, and a trend that we really anticipate seeing continuing in years to come, especially as this conversation of the merger of wealth and health becomes more prevalent. Now, what does a financial wellness program look like? Well, the reality is customized, right? It's unique to every single workforce. What's the point of doing 1 and 2 if it doesn't impact 3, right? I gotta get to know what's important to my employees to know how I can actually help them. Now, for this particular client, for Joe's employer, what we immediately did was offer more one-on-one personal financial coaching meetings because we wanted to figure out if this was a symptom of a much larger problem, right? We wanted to sit down across from employees and be able to answer every question that they had about their financial health. But something that we learned at a very early age holds true for really our entire life, which is that people learn in different ways. The reality is not everybody felt comfortable sitting down and kind of opening up to this therapy type session about their finances. So we also started offering webinars, live and recorded, covering every topic from budgeting to a retirement income plan and Social Security and Medicare. Now, one big lesson that we learned from this whole experience was if you have a great benefit, you need to shout it from your rooftop, right? You have to teach your employees, remind them, teach them, remind them, remind them, teach them. With so much turnover in the workforce, or just, come on, we'll forget things, right? You have to remind your employees what's out there. In the case of Joe, he had all the resources available to him. He had everybody that he could call on. He just didn't know it. And on the topic of Joe, where is he now? Well, after a 2-week medical leave, he's actually back at work and he's up for a promotion. Because at no point did I say he was a subpar employee. To the contrary, he was a terrific employee who had just fallen on tough times. Thanks, everyone.